never thought hyenas essential. They're crude and unspeakably plain. But maybe they've a glimmer of potential.
A man who has conquered the acting world, winning an Oscar, a Tony, and 3 Emmys to achieve the triple crown of acting, might be expected to revel in glamorous Hollywood parties and luxurious Beverly Hills mansions. But the reality of Jeremy Irons' life is far more surprising. Instead of embracing the spotlight, he famously guards his privacy, choosing not to live in the heart of the film industry, but in a restored 15th century castle on the windswept coast of Ireland. For decades, his face has been a fixture on our screens, from the aristocratic Charles Ryder in Brideshead Revisited to the villainous voice of Scar in The Lion King. But the man remains a profound enigma. The reluctant star. Long before the awards and international fame, Jeremy Irons was a man defined not by ambition, but for a desire for a life less ordinary. Born on the Isle of Wight, his early years were a world away from the glamour of Hollywood. He took on odd jobs, working as a house cleaner and an assistant stage manager, and even busked on the streets, singing and playing his guitar to get by. To pay his way through the prestigious Bristol Old Vic Theatre School, he didn't seek a wealthy patron, he became an antiques dealer, developing a keen eye for objects with history and substance, a passion that would later define his life. His big breaks, first in the London production of Godspell, and then as the unforgettable lead in the 1981 television series Brideshead Revisited, catapulted him to fame. But behind the scenes, his internal compass was already set. He wasn't chasing the celebrity lifestyle, he was a craftsman exploring his art, and the fame that came with it was merely a byproduct. He was operating by a different set of rules, a personal philosophy that was always at odds with the demands of public life. Even from the beginning, Irons saw acting not as a way to join the establishment, but as a license to be an outsider. He kept a diary to remind him of his roots, a place for quotes that captured his personal ethos. One, in particular, became a guiding principle. To live outside the law, you must be an honorable man. This wasn't the mantra of an aspiring movie star, it was the code of a man who valued his own integrity above all else. It revealed a deep-seated instinct to live by his own rules, a trait that would inevitably clash with the world of celebrity he was about to enter. The gilded cage of success. The late 80s and early 90s saw Jeremy Irons ascend to the highest echelons of Hollywood. He delivered a string of mesmerizing performances in films like The Mission and David Cronenberg's chilling masterpiece Dead Ringers. Then, in 1990, he achieved the industry's ultimate validation, winning the Academy Award for Best Actor for his portrayal of the enigmatic Klaus von Bülow in Reversal of Fortune. A few years later, his distinct velvety voice became iconic for an entire generation when he voiced the treacherous Scar in Disney's The Lion King. He was, by every conceivable measure, a monumental success. But what happened next shocked the industry. Instead of leveraging his Oscar win for bigger blockbusters and more public profile, Irons began to quickly retreat. The truth was, the very success that others craved felt like a trap to him. He saw his parameters as an artist shrinking, with Hollywood eager to typecast him based on previous triumphs. For Irons, this gilded cage was creative prison. He began to speak about his career with a startling and almost heretical honesty. He saw his work not as a quest for glory, but as a journey for connection and meaning. The accolades were secondary. He viewed the entire machinery of celebrity with a detached, almost clinical eye, reframing fame not as a prize, but as a simple, practical tool. As the awards piled up and his Q ratings soared, Irons offered a perspective on his status that was brutally dismissive of the culture that had elevated him. Quote, "All fame means is that more people know you than you know them. The only value fame has is that it reminds people to maybe ask you to work for them." It wasn't false modesty, it was a profound philosophical statement. He had reached the summit of his profession only to find the view unfulfilling. He felt the world of celebrity was chasing things that were not valuable like wealth and fame, while he was searching for something more lasting. He had his Oscar, the critical acclaim, and the universal recognition. But behind the scenes, he was already laying the groundwork for his great escape. Building the sanctuary. The seeds of Jeremy Irons' escape were planted through his marriage to Irish actress Sinead Cusack. Her heritage drew them to Ireland, where they first bought and painstakingly rebuilt a small, dilapidated cottage. It was during this process that Irons discovered a deep connection to the Irish countryside and its rugged, authentic style. And it was there he first laid eyes on Kilco Castle, a 15th century tower that had stood as a ruin since the 1600s, battered by the Atlantic winds in West Cork. He saw the ruin and had a startling thought. Someone was going to buy it and mess it up. So in 1996, he bought it himself, embarking on a project many considered madness. It was not a vanity project. It was a monumental, all-consuming 6-year mission. He took an entire year off from acting to dedicate himself to the restoration, managing the project like a film director. He hired local craftspeople and artisans determined to bring the castle back to life with integrity and historical respect. His guiding philosophy was, quote, a jazz riff on the medieval, a way of honoring the past while still creating a livable space. The process was a rebellion against the ephemeral nature of his film work. While a movie set is torn down, this castle was being built to last for centuries. The project became an obsession, a physical manifestation of his desire for permanence in a transient world. The media, of course, was fascinated and often mocking. They fixated on the castle's final color, a traditional lime wash tinted with natural pigments, derisively calling it salmon pink. But the criticism missed the point entirely. The color, like the man himself, was rooted in a deeper, misunderstood truth, a historical choice that defied modern aesthetics. He was building not just a house, but a fortress for his soul. When asked years later about his talent for creating such unique and personal spaces, from his homes in Oxfordshire and London to the magnificent castle, his answer revealed the simple, profound drive behind it all. I make a good home, always have. This humble statement grounds the epic undertaking in a universal human desire. The castle wasn't about grandeur or showing off his wealth. It was about creating a sanctuary, a true home where he could finally live life on his own terms, protected from the glare of the outside world. With the last stone set, Jeremy Irons had finally built his refuge. The man inside the castle walls. The secret to why Jeremy Irons needs a fortress isn't a single shocking revelation. It's the complex, unfiltered, and fiercely protected reality of his private life, one that simply cannot survive under the microscope of public opinion. At its heart is his decades-long marriage to Sinead. He's openly described their relationship as stormy and dysfunctional, terms he seems to embrace with a certain pride. They've weathered persistent rumors of infidelity and have what he calls a modern marriage, one built on giving each other the freedom to navigate life's temptations. The refusal to be sanitized extends to his public commentary. Irons has a long history of making controversial statements on sensitive subjects like gay marriage, abortion, and sexual harassment, often sparking outrage and later requiring apologies or clarifications. These moments are not the calculated provocations of a media manipulator, but they're the unfiltered thoughts of a man who's become so accustomed to the intellectual freedom of his private world, he forgets the rigid rules of public discourse. He's a man who thinks aloud, a dangerous habit in the age of instant judgment. His castle provides a sanctuary for this kind of unpolished authenticity, a place where he can, as he says, be myself and do my own thing and be left alone. When asked in an interview what he would apologize for if he could, his answer had nothing to do with controversial remarks or any career missteps. He said, quote, to my children because I worked too hard when they were small. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite role from Jeremy Irons? Let us know in the comments section below.